Hello, welcome to today's video. Well, a lot has happened since my last video, but one thing that has stuck out is something rather interesting has been the announcement of the Sims movie being in production. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, what? But the more I've thought about it, the more I think this movie could actually work. So today I'm not only going to speculate on what could and should be in the movie, but I'm going to give you my rundown on what I think one possible plot of the film could be. And of course, I will also tell you what we know about the movie so far. And at the end of the video, I'm going to have a little chat about where I've been and what I've been up to as well, in case you're interested in that. But for now, let's get started with what we actually know so far about the Sims movie. So first things first, what do we know about the Sims movie? Well, it has been broadcast everywhere that Margot Robbie, of course Barbie movie fame, has ties to this movie. Now what that actually means is it's her production company, Lucky Chap Entertainment, that is producing it. So far as her actual involvement in the movie, I'm not sure how far that goes, whether it's just her company or whether she's going to feature in it somehow. I gotta say, she'd make a good sim. So of course people would compare the Sims movie to like the Barbie movie, as in something with a fair bit of lore to it, but yet not a proper storyline, and something that is a tool of entertainment, shall we say. It's also being compared to things like Super Mario Brothers movie. Now the movie is with Lucky Chap Entertainment, and Kate Herron, who has worked on Loki and The Last of Us, has been said to be the director of the project. She's also going to co-write it with Bryony Redman, who apparently wrote the 6th episode of Doctor Who's latest season. Now also, the production company Vertigo Entertainment is going to co-produce with Lucky Chap. And wait for it, our old friend EA, the publisher of The Sims, in case you don't already know, is going to be involved somehow, not only in a creative role, but a producing one as well. Lord help us all. Hopefully Miss Robbie can carry it, because someone's gonna need to with EA on the scene. Now there's absolutely no casting announcements as of yet, so it's all guesswork and speculation if you want to have a go at that. So that's the nitty-gritty of what we actually know in a more concrete sense. As for the actual movie itself, how do you think that's going to go? My first question is, will they speak Simlish and have like subtitles on the bottom of the screen, or will they go for English or whatever language, our world languages, depending on where you are, of course. Or maybe they will splice the two together and use words like, say, Nubu, and of course they'll use the term woohoo. That's got to be funny, right? And the classic things that they probably say sul sul and that. Do you think it might be a splicing of the two? You know what? I'm going to sort of put my money on that one now. I've got nothing to base that on, but let's place our bets. I also can sort of see how it's going to look. I mean, we have visuals already. Let's look at The Sims 4. I assume that's sort of the one they're going off, seeing as it's the most recent, although they might delve into inspiration from previous ones. But I don't think it would be too hard to create sets that resemble The Sims at all. Will the characters have plumb bobs? That's another question. And will it just be whoever's talking or whoever the focus character is, perhaps? Probably? I'm saying probably at this point. Now, also, the thing that comes to mind is the behaviors and gestures of the Sims. Some of their mannerisms are over the top. And you know what? I hope to see that. I think it'd be funny, and it wouldn't be the Sims without that ridiculousness. Imagine if they're there eating their spicy food and breathing out flames like cartoon styles. That's kind of what I expect to see, in all honesty, because that's the Sims. I also wonder if everything will be as shallow as the Sims as well. Do you think they might even poke fun at it here and there? We can only hope. Of course, I expect to see grilled cheese featured somewhere. It has to happen. Maybe even someone will shuffle off the mortal coil and we'll get to see Grim do his thing as well. That'd be sad though. Damn. Another thing I really hope to see is somebody take the trash out of the bin, then put it on the floor and complain that they've put it on the floor, because it wouldn't be The Sims without that. I also hope they wash their dishes in the bathroom sink just for lols. And backtracking to the whole woohoo thing, let's hope they have locations as well, and we get the awkward bed animations brought to life, which already makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable when you're playing by yourself. I also hope to see the welcome wagon with the a fruitcake, which is always a pain in the game, and yet it would give me a sense of completion of the movie. Do you think they'll have a cult? Imagine old Greg coming in somewhere. The point is, though, I can actually, in a weird way, see this movie working if they did it right. And with the production company that handled Barbie, I feel like it's probably a shot in the right direction. So let's backtrack a little bit. Now, as I said, this movie is already being compared to the likes of Mario Brothers, which I admit I haven't seen. And of course, the Barbie movie. Now, that one I have seen very recently, actually. And it has got me contemplating, what if they were to take the Sims movie in that kind of direction? What if they decide to actually make a statement? Because you know what? It would make sense considering the Sims. The inclusion factor is already there, and it's hard to actually overlook that aspect, seeing as they promote themselves as being such. And I have to say it just comes into my head, you know, can you feel the synergy? Yeah. Also, the dance scene from Barbie comes to mind. I just can't help but picture a Windenburg group dance mixed with the Barbie party dance scene. Now, to get into what the story could be like, I've thought about, is this going to be live action or is this going to be animated? We don't actually know even that. But it is a terrifying notion that they could follow the Barbie movie suit and have some of the Simniverse and some of the real world. It would probably blow the Sims' minds to be able to stack one item in the dishwasher at a time and not have to turn it on. But the more I think about it, the more I think that at least the Sims themselves will probably stay to the confines of the Simniverse. But do you think they'll get the player involved? In any case, my prediction is that they are going to have moments of self-awareness here and there, either scattered in, where they realize either someone has control over them or their autonomy is not entirely their own. Yeah, I just can't imagine that not being thrown in there somewhere, but the real question is, how much of a role will that aspect play? And will it be a full-blown story point, or will it just be mild to moderate acknowledgements that are just thrown in there here and there with a few lines? Now, this has also led me to wondering what the overall story could be, because like they've said about the Barbie movie, Barbie herself doesn't have a proper story, neither does The Sims. Well, The Sims 4 more specifically, you kind of project it in there. So they could go the route where they depend on characters, like townies that already have lore, such as, you know, the Goths, Don Lothario, the Calientes and such. But I also wonder if they might make some fresh characters, especially for the movie as well, and them sort of be the lead characters and maybe have some of the, you know, classic townies around them. You know, something I do hope to see in there, even though it can be quite annoying and immersion breaking in the actual game itself, I want to see some infamous, badly dressed townies. I want to see them come to life on the big screen. That would be rather amusing. Now back to the story. So theoretically, they could get away with a fairly basic storyline. I mean, that is The Sims after all. And there is a lot of actual practical stuff that could carry the film when you think about it. But if they did go down a more Barbie movie route of self-awareness, they could have a sim that's been created as the sim self of the player, actually sort of include the player there. And then it could be all about the journey of self-discovery, not only for the sim to work out who they are as a sim, as themselves in the world, with the added bonus mind F of being a fully grown adult just being manifested into a world with no skills, no memory, no nothing, and there you are, let's just get a job, let's just start our lives. It's always struck me as odd, that one. But it could be about that sim working out who they are, and simultaneously and parallel to their journey, the player actually working out stuff about themselves, which is another selling point of The Sims. And as we know, they do have a role in what goes on in this movie. So then the more the sim works out who they are on their own journey, the more the player actually works out who they are through controlling the sim. And as time goes by, they encounter obviously a lot of The Sims classic things we've talked about so far. You know, cow plants. If it's The Sims 4, telephones teleporting you everywhere, yet there's cars driving by that you can't get into. They might even feature a pie wheel occasionally as extra communications. And like I said before, I reckon it's going to be some in English and some in Simlish. But basically, just think of all the standard Sim stuff you can. I think they should also have a fire going on, what do you reckon? And develop the fears from the get-go if they want to add a little bit more depth. And then they should have the ridiculousness of going on a single date only to end up as soulmates after that one date and possibly even get married that night. And then their new spouse decides to flirt with another, and then they have to deal with that dreaded 24 hours of jealousy. Maybe they give themselves pep talks during this and discover more about themselves. Maybe they go to Windenburg discotheque and drink juice with friends and go for a rage-fueled workout, only to magically not give a flying fig the next day. Once those moodlets expire, you don't give a damn. Fun fact, I tried to film all that for you with the one sim, but it really didn't work out. Instead, our girl Beatrix was successful in getting a date with Don Lothario pretty quick off the bat. However, the date did not go so well. She tried to take the relationship to the next level and the Don was not down. But on the bright side, at least she didn't get done by Don the way most do. She dodged the Don bullet. But backtracking slightly to those moodlets and that jealousy one that just doesn't last long enough. Of course, yes, there are those fleeting grudges they can hold, which do go on a little bit longer, but can be easily overridden by any other moodlet. So they only give half a fig thereafter. Actually, you know what would be funny is if their moodlet's constantly changing and the Sim's mood is constantly changing out of nowhere and they're trying to juggle all these moodlets, which of course includes a really bad one such as a grudge about your spouse flirting that just gets overridden by a painting. Ah, the fickle Sims. Now, the overall point when experiencing all of the aforementioned could be simply experiencing these things and perhaps trying to leave a legacy, which could be introducing infants or making a lot of artwork, who knows? And this could result at some point in the Sim becoming completely self-aware and trying to understand the very simulation they are in. Now, would that be just that they knew they were in a simulation, or would it get to the point that they knew there was a player and they tried to get their attention like they do with the I'm hungry animations and such? Maybe that's how they realize there's a player. They're like, hang on, who am I even talking to? And then they try to communicate with the player, but because it's all in Simlish and the player can't understand them, I mean, what are they going to do? And you know what? I don't think that's all totally out of the question if they go down this sort of a path. There are little hints of it here and there, like the fear of someone controlling their lives. And I think there's a random dream you can get as well. There's a few little things here or there. It also reminds me of a bit of some of the self-awareness moments that can happen in a certain adult mod-based mental. But of course, it wouldn't have the other aspects of that mod if you get my drift. I wonder if mods would be mentioned. Imagine that. Imagine if they threw in some of our favorite adult mods as a joke. Anyway, going back to the Sims storyline itself, the whole player discovery inception could be a thing because a lot of people, as we've said, can express different parts of themselves through the game that they may not be able to otherwise, and that is one good side effect that seems to be an actual thing of the Sims. I know they drum on about it in, Sims interviews and stuff, but it does seem to be a legitimate thing. And because the Sims like this as one of their selling points, and because it's run by Lucky Chap, you never know, those powers may combine and that may be what we're going to get. It would also be just a good selling point for the game. So anyway, this loops back to this parallel journey about the Sim discovering itself independent of the creator and the creator being able to express themselves through the Sim. The whole thing may start off in Cass even, as our character is being created, as our new character that is, before we drop off our fully functional adult with no memories into the game. And there you go. Throw in all the Sims quirkiness, all the ridiculous and the grilled cheese you like. Throw in that and you have what to me is a combination of The Sims and a Lucky Chap movie. Now, I've been going on the assumption that The Sims 4 is what they would go on, but perhaps they'd be better off using the storylines and the depth of The Sims 2, or even some of the quirkiness of The Sims 3. However, it did also strike me that The Sims 5 is upcoming, and so is the movie. Could it be because the EA has control over some of the creative aspect and some of the movie itself, that there is some sort of coincide between the release of The Sims 5 and the movie, and therefore would The Sims 5 have more to do with the movie or vice versa than its previous games, and would that be an additional selling point there? I would certainly not put it past them. However, also it might coincide with the fact that The Sims 4 is being dragged on as long as possible with as many expansions as possible. So if the movie is based on The Sims 4, there is a lot of merch to already sell. So either they're going to have The Sims 5 be what we want, or if it is based on more of The Sims 4, they're going to want to fix this game because this news dropped at an extremely extremely awkward time, which hasn't really ended, mind you. After the whole Crystal Creations fiasco, there has been massive backlash about the game not working. The update that came before Crystal Creations broke the game for many that has not ended despite many patches. So if anybody were to be interested in the movie and decide to go on social media to find out more about The Sims, they'd be running into a complete shite show right about now. And no amount of leaks or free packs is going to fix that. And that comes to, if you are a regular for me, I did say in my last video that I was going to do some positivity and some Crystal Creations, but that was before I realized the state of the game after that patch, and I did not update my game till very recently, and therefore I did not get Crystal Creations. I'm sorry that I said that. I did mean it at the time, but I had a really bad feeling about my game being broken at that point. I hope you can understand. And to be perfectly frank, like many other players around that time, it sort of disenchanted me with The Sims 4 for a while. And it actually led me to try a lot of other games outside The Sims 4 and do a lot of research on some of the alternatives upcoming, and I might be making videos on some of those. But that's not the only reason I've been away. I have been quite unwell. I have been for a while actually, and it's multiple things at once, and I just sort of hit an all-round rough patch. I did try to make some videos in that time, but nothing panned out. I think I just needed to step back and rest far more than I ever anticipated. But I have some upcoming surgeries and treatments later in the year, so I'm hoping to finally get better. But I'm sorry for vanishing without a trace. It was not my intention. And for everyone who has stuck around, I am so grateful that you have. I really appreciate you, and I will be trying to get back on the bandwagon for now. But thank you so much for still being there. Well, what do you guys think about this new movie? It's one of many things to discuss in The Sims at the moment. There has been a lot going on, but it's definitely a source of interest to me, and although I was actually skeptical at first, I am very intrigued to see where this movie goes. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day or night. I will see you next time, and bye for now.